From network-hopping survival to confusing character names and a parade of baseball legends, this forgotten 90s sitcom about four Chicago friends had one of the strangest behind-the-scenes stories in television history. You won't believe what really happened when the cameras stopped rolling. Fact 1. The show jumped networks mid-run. Between Brothers had one of the strangest journeys in 1990s television history, becoming part of a very exclusive club of shows that managed to switch networks and keep going. The sitcom premiered on Fox on September 11, 1997, introducing audiences to four friends navigating life in Chicago. The show featured strong performances and genuine chemistry between the cast members. But Fox struggled to find the right time slot and audience for the series. After airing 13 episodes during the fall of 1997 and early 1998, Fox pulled the plug and canceled the show in January of 1998. Most canceled sitcoms simply disappear forever, becoming forgotten footnotes in television history. But Between Brothers got an unexpected second chance. In a surprising turn of events, the United Paramount Network, better known as UPN, picked up the series and ordered new episodes for a second season. The show returned to television in February of 1999, more than a year after Fox had canceled it, with 4 brand new episodes airing on UPN through March 2, 1999. This network switch was incredibly rare for sitcoms during that era, as most shows that got canceled stayed canceled. The gap between the Fox cancellation and the UPN revival meant that fans who had followed the show onto Fox might have missed its return entirely if they weren't actively searching for it. This unusual resurrection made Between Brothers a curiosity in television history, proving that sometimes a show just needs to find the right home, even if it takes switching networks to get there. Fact 2. It was the #1 show you've never heard of. Between Brothers holds one of the most unusual distinctions in television history, revealing a massive problem with how ratings were measured in the 1990s. According to research conducted by the advertising agency BBDO New York, which specialized in tracking viewership in minority households, Between Brothers was actually the #1 rated series in African American households for the 1997 to 1998 season. This sounds impressive until you learn the other side of the story. In the overall Nielsen ratings that networks and advertisers typically used to measure success, Between Brothers ranked somewhere around 80th place, which was considered a very poor showing. This enormous gap between the two rating systems exposed a serious flaw in how television success was being measured. The Nielsen system at that time only had a small percentage of boxes installed in minority homes, which meant that shows with strong African American audiences could be wildly successful with their actual viewers, but still appear to be failing in the official ratings. Doug Alligood, Senior Vice President for Special Markets at BBDO, confirmed that there was no question the show was a genuine success in Black households, despite what the mainstream ratings suggested. This created a bizarre situation where a show could simultaneously be the most popular program for millions of viewers while also being dismissed as a ratings disaster by the industry. The disconnect between these two realities ultimately shaped the show's fate and highlighted how television measurement systems were failing to capture the viewing habits of diverse audiences. Fact 3. UPN rescued it to win back lost audiences. When UPN decided to pick up Between Brothers after Fox canceled it, the network's executives were surprisingly honest about their motivations, admitting they had made a strategic mistake that they needed to fix. UPN Entertainment President Tom Noonan spoke openly to the Chicago Tribune in January of 1999 about why the network was bringing the show back. He acknowledged that UPN had been brutally aware of how important the African American audience was to the network's health and overall success. The problem was that UPN had tried to expand beyond its core audience too quickly, attempting to add shows that would appeal to a wider section of the country while reducing their commitment to programming aimed at Black viewers. This strategy backfired spectacularly, with UPN's ratings dropping approximately 35% from the 1997 to 98 season compared to the previous year. During the 1997 to 98 season, UPN's Monday night schedule had featured 4 shows with African American casts, including In the House, Malcolm and Eddie, Good News, and Sparks, but the network abandoned most of this programming in an attempt to go mainstream. Noonan admitted that while the network wasn't trying to be mercenary about bringing Between Brothers back, they certainly hoped the series would succeed in regaining some of the African American audience that had stopped watching UPN. He essentially confirmed that the network had miscalculated by saying they weren't ready to move beyond their core audience yet. This candid admission revealed how networks in the late 1990s were struggling to balance serving their established audiences while trying to expand their reach. Fact 4. The brothers' last name changed between sources. One of the most confusing aspects of Between Brothers is that nobody seems to agree on what the main characters' last names actually were, creating an ongoing mystery that has persisted for decades. The show centered on 2 brothers named Charles and James, but whether they were the Winston brothers or the Gordon brothers depends entirely on which source you're looking at. The Wikipedia entry for the series, along with most promotional materials and official descriptions from the Fox network, consistently identifies them as Charles Winston and James Winston. However, if you look up the show on TV Guide's website or check the cast listings on IMDb, you'll find the characters credited as Charles Gordon and James Gordon instead. This isn't just a minor discrepancy that appears in 1 or 2 places, as the Gordon surname shows up repeatedly across multiple episode credits and cast listings. Some episode summaries and reviews also use the Gordon name when describing the characters and their storylines. The confusion extends beyond just online databases, as viewers who watch the show have conflicting memories about which name was actually used on screen. This suggests there may have been an actual change made during production, possibly between the pilot episode and later episodes, or perhaps between the Fox run and the UPN episodes. It's also possible that different writers or producers used different names inconsistently throughout the series. Whatever the reason, this split in the official record has created a situation where fans and researchers genuinely cannot agree on this basic fact about the show's main characters, making Between Brothers one of the few sitcoms where the protagonists' surnames remain a mystery. Fact 5. Charles's job change to 2. The confusion about character details on Between Brothers extends beyond just last names, as the occupation of main character Charles also varies wildly depending on which source you consult. Most official descriptions identify Charles as a sports writer working for the Chicago Examiner newspaper, which makes sense given the show's Chicago setting and the numerous athlete guest stars who appeared throughout the series. This version describes him as the responsible older brother who takes his journalism career very seriously and works long hours covering sports stories. However, other sources paint a completely different picture of the character's professional life. TV Maze and several episode guides describe Charles as a workaholic doctor instead of a journalist, completely changing the nature of his career and daily responsibilities. The IMDb episode listing for the pilot episode also refers to Charles Gordon as a workaholic doctor, while other episodes on the same site describe him as a journalist. This inconsistency is particularly strange because a character's job is usually one of the most fundamental aspects of a sitcom's premise, affecting storylines, settings, and the types of conflicts that arise. It's possible that the character's occupation was changed during development or between the pilot and the series order, which sometimes happens when networks or producers decide to retool a show. Another possibility is that there was confusion between the 2 brother characters, though James is consistently described as a real estate salesman across all sources. Whatever caused this discrepancy, it means that even basic facts about the show's main character remain unclear decades later, adding to the general mystery surrounding Between Brothers. Fact 6. Debbie Allen-directed key episodes Between Brothers managed to attract some serious Hollywood talent behind the camera, bringing in one of the entertainment industry's most respected figures to helm important episodes. Debbie Allen, the legendary choreographer, actress, director, and producer, directed 2 episodes during the show's first season on Fox in 1997. Allen was already a powerhouse in the industry by that point, having achieved fame as both a performer and director on projects that shaped 1980s and 90s television. She had won multiple Emmy Awards for her choreography work on the series Fame, where she also starred as dance teacher Lydia Grant and became known for her demanding standards and inspiring presence. Allen had also directed 83 episodes of A Different World, the groundbreaking sitcom about life at a historically black college, which she transformed from a bland Cosby Show spin-off into a culturally significant series that tackled serious social issues. The Hollywood Reporter specifically noted how Allen's involvement as producer and director elevated A Different World into a lively and socially responsible ensemble comedy. Her decision to direct episodes of Between Brothers brought that same level of professionalism and artistic vision to the production. The 2 episodes she directed were The Big Three, O, which aired on September 18, 1997, and The List, which aired on October 23, 1997. Having someone of Allen's caliber directing episodes gave the show credibility and demonstrated that the production had access to top-tier talent, even if the series itself struggled to find a sustained audience and eventually got canceled. Fact 7. 3 In Living Color stars reunited Between Brothers brought together cast members from 2 of the most influential black sitcoms of the 1990s, creating an unexpected reunion that fans of those shows might have missed entirely. Tommy Davidson, who played the character Mitchell Ford on Between Brothers, had been an original cast member on the groundbreaking sketch comedy series In Living Color, which ran on Fox from 1990 through 1993. Davidson became famous for his wicked impersonations of celebrities like Michael Jackson, MC Hammer, and Sammy Davis Jr. during his time on that show. Guest star Tisha Campbell, who appeared in the 7th episode of Between Brothers titled Dusty's in Love, had also been part of the In Living Color cast, making her appearance on the show a mini reunion of sorts. Meanwhile, the show's lead actor Kadeem Hardison had achieved fame playing Dwayne Wayne on A Different World, the long-running sitcom that aired from 1987 to 1993. Hardison's character became iconic for his trademark flip-up sunglasses and his romantic relationship with Whitley Gilbert, and he earned multiple NAACP Image Award nominations for the role. The combination of these 3 performers meant that Between Brothers was essentially a crossover event for fans who had followed black sitcoms throughout the 90s. Both In Living Color and A Different World had been culturally significant shows that addressed African American experiences while achieving mainstream success, and seeing their stars come together on a new project should have been a bigger deal. Unfortunately, Between Brothers never achieved the same level of recognition or cultural impact as the shows that launched its stars' careers. Fact 8. A parade of sports icons, guest-starred Between Brothers, featured an unusually high concentration of real-life athletes and sports personalities making cameo appearances, turning the sitcom into something of a who's who of 1990s sports legends. Baseball superstar Barry Bonds appeared in an episode during the first season, playing himself in a storyline where sports writer character Charles had to interview Bonds or risk losing his job. NFL legend Jim Brown also guest-starred as himself in an episode called Kung Fools, where Charles wrote an article that angered the former Cleveland Browns running back, creating conflict between the character and the real-life football icon. The show's 2nd season on UPN brought even more sports celebrities into the mix. Pete Rose, baseball's all-time hits leader who had been banned from the sport due to gambling, appeared as himself in an episode called Fantasy Camp, where Charles was sent to report on a Pete Rose baseball fantasy camp. Major League Baseball players Darryl Strawberry and Kenny Lofton also made appearances playing themselves, continuing the show's tradition of featuring actual athletes. What made this parade of sports stars particularly unusual was that Between Brothers was a relatively low-rated sitcom that got canceled after just 1 season on Fox. Yet it somehow had the connections and budget to bring in some of the biggest names in professional sports. The show even featured controversial talk show host Jerry Springer, who appeared in a UPN episode where he played himself hosting his infamous television program. This concentration of celebrity athletes suggested that either the show's producers had exceptional industry connections or that these stars were particularly interested in supporting African American sitcoms during this period. Fact 9. Jerry Springer ambushed a character on his show. Between Brothers took meta television to a bizarre level in one of its UPN episodes by having a main character actually appear on The Jerry Springer Show as part of the sitcom's storyline. In the episode, James, the fun-loving playboy brother played by Dondre Whitfield, found himself as a guest on Springer's Notorious Talk show, which had become infamous during the late 1990s for its confrontational format and chaotic on-stage fights. The episode featured Jerry Springer playing himself as the host, maintaining his real-life persona as the ringmaster of televised relationship chaos. The storyline involved James being ambushed by a group of his ex-girlfriends who had been brought together to confront him about his dating history and behavior. This setup perfectly matched the typical Jerry Springer show format, where guests would be surprised by revelations or confrontations with people from their past, often leading to dramatic arguments and physical altercations. The episode also featured Steve Wilkos, who was Springer's head of security on The Real Show, playing a bouncer in the Between Brothers episode. Having actual Jerry Springer show personnel involved added authenticity to the parody while blurring the lines between the sitcom's fictional world and real-world pop culture. This type of crossover was relatively uncommon for sitcoms at the time, as most shows either referenced popular culture indirectly or created fictional equivalents of famous programs. The decision to bring in the actual Jerry Springer and elements of his show demonstrated how Between Brothers was willing to embrace the absurd aspects of late 90s television culture, creating a truly surreal viewing experience. Fact 10. The only female regular was Canadian. Between Brothers was essentially a boys' club with 4 male leads, but the show did feature one female regular cast member who brought an international dimension to the production. Rachel Crawford played Terry, a friend of the brothers who ran the local sports bar where the guys frequently hung out, making her the only woman among the main cast throughout the show's entire run. What many viewers didn't realize was that Crawford was actually a Canadian actress who had already built an impressive career before joining the American sitcom. Born around 1969 in Toronto, Ontario, Crawford had started acting professionally as a teenager and appeared in various Canadian television productions throughout the 1980s. Her big break came when she replaced actress Robin Givens in the role of Kiswana Brown on the television series Brewster Place, which aired in 1990 and was produced by none other than Oprah Winfrey herself. Working on a show produced by Winfrey gave Crawford valuable experience and industry connections that would serve her well throughout her career. Crawford had also earned critical acclaim for her film work, receiving Canadian Screen Award nominations for her performances in Rude, a 1995 film about African-Canadian life that premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, and Pale Saints in 1997. She was particularly praised for her role as Petra in the 1995 film When Night is Falling, where the New York Times critic Chiwetel Stephen Holden specifically called her performance appealing. Despite these achievements, Crawford's work on Between Brothers often gets overlooked in discussions of her career, possibly because the show's brief run and limited cultural impact meant fewer people remember it compared to her other projects. Fact 11. Young Aldous Hodge appeared in an episode long before he became known for playing tech genius Alec Hardison on the hit series Leverage. Or suiting up as Hawkman in the DC superhero film Black Adam, Aldous Hodge made an early career appearance on Between Brothers as a young actor just starting out in Hollywood. Hodge appeared in a 1997 episode playing a character named Reggie, though the specific episode title and plot details remain unclear in most databases. At the time of his appearance, Hodge was still a child actor, building his resume with small roles on various television shows and working alongside his brother Edwin Hodge, who was also pursuing an acting career. The Hodge brothers came from a family with a military background, as their mother had served in the Marines and maintained strict standards about education and performance. Aldous later recalled in interviews how his mother made acting a privilege rather than a priority, requiring him and his brother to maintain excellent grades in school or lose the opportunity to audition and act. This discipline helped both brothers develop a strong work ethic that would serve them well as they transitioned from child actors to adult performers with substantial careers. Hodge went on to accumulate an impressive filmography, including roles in Die Hard with a Vengeance, the television series Supernatural, and The Chicago Code, and eventually landing his breakthrough role on Leverage. His appearance on Between Brothers represents one of those small early credits that actors accumulate while trying to break into the industry, and it's the kind of detail that fans enjoy discovering when looking back at the career trajectories of successful performers. Fact 12. The show had a hip-hop theme song. Between Brothers distinguished itself from other sitcoms of its era by opening each episode with a hip-hop-influenced theme song that emphasized brotherhood and family bonds through rap-style lyrics. The theme song began with the repeated hook, "Keep it in the family. That's how it's supposed to be. No one else can handle me. You're my brother, establishing the show's central premise about the importance of close friendships that function like family relationships. The verses continued with lines like, "We swing right like pendulums, stomping to the millennium like Timberland to Timberlands," using contemporary hip-hop references and wordplay that would have resonated with audiences in the late 1990s. The lyrics emphasized loyalty and support with phrases like, "Keeping it real, whether times are good or bad for you, I'm ready to attack for you, always got your back for you," reflecting the show's focus on how the four friends stood by each other through various challenges and situations. There appears to have been multiple versions of the theme song, as some sources indicate slightly different lyrics were used between the Fox episodes and the UPN episodes, though the core message about brotherhood remained consistent. The song's refrain, "Next to my brother, there's no other," reinforced how the show treated friendship as seriously as biological family connections. This hip-hop approach to a sitcom theme song was still relatively uncommon in 1997, as most sitcoms stuck with more traditional instrumental themes or pop-style songs. The choice to use a rap-influenced theme helped establish Between Brothers as a show that spoke directly to younger African-American audiences who were heavily influenced by hip-hop culture during that period. Fact 13. Fox Irmua Teshet. Only 10 of 17 total episodes. The mathematics of Between Brothers' cancellation and revival create one of the strangest episode counts in sitcom history, revealing how the show's production got split across 2 networks and 2 years. When Fox premiered the series in September of 1997, the network had ordered a partial season rather than committing to a full 22 or 24 episode order, which was typical for new shows that networks weren't completely confident about. Fox ultimately aired 13 episodes between September 11, 1997 and January 29, 1998, before pulling the show from the schedule and officially canceling it. At that point, Between Brothers appeared to be finished, joining the long list of sitcoms that got brief runs before disappearing forever. However, when UPN decided to revive the series more than a year later, the network ordered 4 new episodes that would be classified as the show's second season. These 4 episodes aired on UPN between February 9th and March 2nd, 1999, bringing the show's total episode count to 17 across both networks. This means that Fox aired more than 3/4 of the show's entire run, while UPN only aired less than 1/4. Yet UPN is credited with saving the series and giving it a second season. The gap between episode 13 and episode 14 was over a year long, which must have been confusing for viewers who had followed the show on Fox and then discovered it had returned on a completely different network. The Fox World Wiki even notes that they don't acknowledge the second season because it aired on UPN rather than Fox, treating only the original 13 Fox episodes as the legitimate run of the show. Fact 14. It disappeared from reruns. Quickly after Between Brothers ended its brief original run in 1999, the show entered the television afterlife that most canceled sitcoms experience, bouncing around in syndication before eventually vanishing almost entirely from public view. For a period during the 2000s and early 2010s, the cable network TV1 picked up the rights to air reruns of Between Brothers, introducing the show to audiences who might have missed it during its original Fox and UPN broadcasts. TV1, which launched in January of 2004 and focused primarily on programming aimed at African American viewers, seemed like a natural home for the series given its cast and cultural context. The network aired episodes of Between Brothers alongside other black sitcoms from the 1990s and early 2000s, helping keep the show alive in the cultural memory. However, TV1 stopped airing Between Brothers sometime around 2014, and after that point, the show effectively disappeared from television entirely. Unlike many other sitcoms from the same era that found second lives on streaming services or cable networks that specialize in classic programming, Between Brothers hasn't been picked up by any major platform. It doesn't appear on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime Video, or any of the other streaming services where viewers typically find old sitcoms. Some episodes have been uploaded to the Internet Archive by preservationists who recognize that the show was at risk of being lost to history, but these are unofficial uploads rather than legitimate distributions. This absence from streaming and cable reruns has made Between Brothers one of the more obscure sitcoms of the 1990s, despite featuring a talented cast that included actors who went on to have successful careers in other projects. Fact 15. Kadeem Hardison's mother was executive producer. Between Brothers wasn't just a professional opportunity for lead actor Kadeem Hardison, as the show also represented a family business venture that brought his mother into a key production role. Bethan Hardison served as co-executive producer on the series for 13 episodes, spanning from 1997 to 1999, giving her significant creative control and oversight of the show's production. This arrangement was entirely appropriate given Bethan's impressive background and her history of managing her son's career. Bethan Hardison was a pioneering African-American fashion model who had worked extensively during the 1960s and 70s, breaking barriers in an industry that had been predominantly white. After her modeling career, she founded her own modeling agency and became one of the most important advocates for diversity in the fashion industry, fighting to increase opportunities for models of color. She had been managing Kadeem's career predominantly since he began acting, guiding him from his early roles through his breakthrough on A Different World and into projects like Between Brothers. Her role as co-executive producer meant she could protect her son's interests while also ensuring the show maintained high production standards and authentic representation. The Hardison family connection extended beyond just the executive producer credit, as Bethan's involvement in the show's creative decisions likely influenced casting choices, storyline development, and the overall direction of the series. This mother-son professional partnership demonstrated how Bethan had successfully transitioned from being Kadeem's manager to becoming a television producer in her own right, though Between Brothers' brief run meant she didn't get the opportunity to build on this production experience with additional seasons.